Hello, everyone. This is Josh Oakes here today with smartsocial.com. No matter where you're listening to us today, whether it's on our podcast, on iTunes, on Stitcher Radio, or any of our other systems, or whether you're watching us on YouTube or at our home base at smartsocial.com, I'm excited to share with you today 3 tips that you can use to shine online for your teenager, your tween, or yourself as a professional, because I have an absolute pro here today. This podcast is brought to you by our 3 books that teach the world how to shine online. A few years ago, we wrote Light, Bright, and Polite for Parents and Teens, a book that did very well on Amazon, and it shows you how to get fired, how to get hired, and how to talk to your kids about shining online. We rewrote one, and this is another popular one that's fresh and new. This is one that your teens pick up, because we want to give them wisdom. And we have one for your staff. If you own a company or you are an employer, this is the one where your staff learns, and this is a guide that helps them to make sure they know what's going on and what's positive. Schools all over the country use all 3 of these books to make sure that their kids are shining and their adults are all the same, because we treat every student like an adult at smartsocial.com. And as I travel the country teaching about 30,000 students a year how to shine online, we show them their career opportunities and how this is going to work. And in that same topic, on that same topic, I have an absolute expert here today, and I'm honored to have from the Fontana Unified School District, the Associate Superintendent of Human Resources. I have Joe Bremgartner here today. Joe, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's good to have you here today, because you're going to share 3 tips that everyone that's watching here today and listening can use to help their teenager or their middle schooler or junior higher shine online. But secret, it's also good for professionals, because you actually help to hire people for a school district, which is like an employer. And I sit on the employer side, you sit on the school side. I think we're going to have a good dialogue.
Sounds great.
Okay, so your tip number 1. Talk to us about tip number 1 on how to shine online.
Sure. Well, the first thing is just to understand that your social profile really doesn't go away. What you put out there is like a tattoo that you're putting on the internet about you. And so even though something might seem like a good idea at the moment, or a funny post to have out there, it just doesn't go away. And down the road, that could be embarrassing to you as a future college student, as a future employee. You know, things last for a long time on the internet. So you don't want to put something out there that might trail and cause you a problem later on.
And that leads into tip number 2. Your tip number 2, what do our social profiles do to someone that meets us first? What do they do for people?
Many times your social profile is the first impression someone has of you, whether it's your university or an employer. I mean, not all employers, including us, we don't necessarily go out looking and searching social profiles, but I can tell you that your future colleagues may, or as a professional, your future parents as a teacher, your parents in the classroom might be looking at you, your students might be looking at you, and they may actually see your social profile before they ever meet you as a human being. And so sometimes that sets the stage for how people are going to perceive you, your level of professionalism, and your ability to be successful with those people.
Yeah, it's a good point. So your first impression is what people are going to find online of you, and your social profile doesn't go away. Just side note for all of you educators and employers out there, I thought it was a really good note that you just made about essentially, if you're a teacher, every student is going to be Googling you. And as I'm on stage asking students, I like to lighten it up and get students laughing in the beginning. Otherwise, they won't listen to you. If you lack humor, sometimes they just won't pay attention. But I'll ask students, how many of you have Googled yourself in the last month? And a few of them raise their hand. How many of you have Googled your parents? More of them raise their hand. How many of you have Googled one of the teachers or principal at the school? Even more, and they're laughing. And that's because they're going to be intrigued by the person they spend so many hours with every day, and they're going to search for you. So, very fascinating. Number 3, if you're going to have an online profile, what is one of the tools that they should consider to getting an online profile on?
Sure. Well, I think the number 1 tool is to understand your privacy settings on your social profile, and or maintain a professional profile as well, so that your personal profile doesn't become the only thing that people see of you, and that, maybe it's a little harder to get to. The last thing you want to have happen is sometimes a friend will think something is funny. You may not post anything off color or negative on your profile, but a friend might have taken a picture of you at a party or in some social activity that an employer or a college or anyone else down the road may not find humorous. And if they have the ability to just randomly post that to your wall or to your Instagram feed or your Facebook wall or your Twitter feed, whatever it may be, if they have the ability to do that, then that could cause you embarrassment too. And maybe it's something that you had no intention of sharing. So understand your security settings and make sure that other people can't do that.
That's awesome. Okay, so for those of you parents that are listening to this, go Google your kids, right? We need to think like a human resource person. In HR, we need to think like a college prep, a college admissions officer. You've got to get onto the internet and go Google your kids. We have a 3-step plan that protects every family from safety and smart. 1, go Google your kids. 2, take your kids to college campuses and talk to them about their future. And 3, create positive content. And so what Joe is basically saying here right now is go search for your kids the way a professional or a college is going to do so that you can see what they're doing. Go into incognito mode if you have Chrome or private browsing mode if you have something else. And it logs you out of everything so it doesn't know who you are, and you can see the internet the way someone else will see it. We have some detailed guides on that in Parent University on how to do that. But go see what others are saying. Don't always rely on those privacy settings because things change. But know what's out there. I do love what you're saying, and I've got a tip for every high schooler watching right now. When you're on your Instagram and people, oh, it's private. Oh, there's my niece. If it's private, and you think, oh, it's fine, but if someone could add you, so there's a little buttons on your profile. One of them said, here's all the images you've been tagged in. You can untag yourself, but that little tiny tab to the far right, every high schooler knows what I'm talking about. A little tiny tab to the far right shows all the images you've been tagged in. And those could be appropriate or inappropriate. Not a whole lot of adults at this time know to click on that, but they will soon. So go manage that brand. It is your garden. Make sure you love every little rose and flower in there. You're building a portfolio for yourself to make sure you shine online. We want to make sure you get that dream job. Hey, Joe, let's jump back to you. What are some other tips? What are some tips that you have for adults that students might be able to benefit from?
Again, I think that as an adult, you just need to manage your profile and know that things that are funny or that, as human beings, we make mistakes. And so posting something out there early on in your life may come back to haunt you later. So always think about, would I want my mom to see this? Would I want my grandmother to see this? Would I want this on the front page of the local newspaper? And if you're having that thought train before you start posting stuff, it will help you to keep a profile that is acceptable and potentially represents you in a much better and more professional way.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a side note, because I'm practical and tactical, and I see a lot of people doing this, sometimes they're like, it's fine, I'm really passionate about this, and it is perfectly fine to vent, but consider doing it in a group chat so that people like Joe can't see it. You want to vent? That is very normal. You should get angry and text a best friend or something. But when it comes to making sure that when we're talking politics, religion, or anything else, consider finding those 5 people that love you more than anyone else and venting to them privately. Because as soon as we see students seeing adults doing it online, I think it's okay to do it. So just a little side note for you there. If you're really passionate about something, there are 5 people in your phone that would love to hear from you about it. And that helps us set a great example for students how to be light, bright, and polite. It doesn't mean we're fake. It doesn't mean we're quiet about important issues. It just means we're directly discussing it with people that love us more than the internet loves us. Joe, I'm going to give you the last word.
Again, I think that I hope that students out there who are listening are really thinking forward. I know as a teenager, sometimes it's hard to think beyond the moment, but I also think that it's important to understand that you're setting the stage right now for the rest of your career, the rest of your life. And, be smart. Be smart about what you're doing. Be safe. The internet is a big, vast place. Always be safe when you're out there. And, if you ever have questions or if you're not sure about something, ask somebody who knows.
That's a great suggestion. I love that. Thank you for everyone that's listening on our podcast here today. Everybody that's watching this video, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or anywhere else, you can go to smartsocial.com to pick up one of our books for about $10. You can get the parenting-friendly one, the one that your teens should read because it treats them like an adult. It doesn't ever tell them what not to do. It rather shows them, here's people that got fired, people that got hired. Here's what colleges want. It is blessed and backed by some of the world's biggest brands on the back. You can see it on Amazon. And for staff members, big companies are really looking to make a positive online impression. And this one helps their staff to know how to behave in a backyard barbecue on Twitter and everywhere else. I am so thankful for you, Joe, today. So thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
And for everybody else that's watching, you can learn more at smartsocial.com, where we have resources that teach you the 50 bad apps that your kids shouldn't be on and some of the good apps, how to use social media with a purpose instead of just a pastime, how to be light, bright, and polite, my new little sign that's right above my head, and all kinds of other ways in which we can use the internet. I want to leave you with this final word. We have a free course on our Parent University program called Screen Time and Social Media Addiction for Parents of Teens. And it really teaches you how the devices that we have will really occupy too much of our day. We have the 4 C's. Social media is good when it's all about connecting and communicating. But then as soon as it turns into comparing and consuming our time, it all of a sudden becomes bad and steers us in a bad direction. Go learn more about that on smartsocial.com. Click on the top of the front page with that social media addiction free course that you can learn and see all the good and bad that these screen time things have for us. I'm Josh Oakes with smartsocial.com. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Be sure to subscribe if you're on iTunes, or give us a thumbs up if you're on YouTube or Facebook. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.